Hey babies. So I am live for several reasons. Um I have obviously I've made the biggest mistake of my life, and I don't want you guys to make that mistake either. Um and I'm bringing awareness to what I really deal with because I don't think people really understand. So I'm going to keep this brief. Um so I've publicly announced that my husband and I were having issues. Unfortunately, it was a big mistake. It helped some, but it hurt the main person involved, which was him. And I regret it. And not only that, out of desperation, I did something that I really shouldn't have. And it's going to hurt me forever. I never saw so much fear in my husband as I did the other day. And that hurt me to my core. I'm still sick to my stomach today because of this revelation. I'm forgetting what I did and really hurting someone that I loved. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my husband. I want my husband. Not going to change saying any of that. And I did then. I acted out because I wanted my husband home. I wanted my family together again. I wanted us to grieve the loss of my daughter together. I wanted us to work through our issues together. I didn't want to do it alone. And I got tired of the circles, round and round. And I didn't have anybody. One, because we weren't really allowed to talk about us having problems. So a lot of people didn't even know we were having problems. But I didn't have anybody in my corner to tell me, baby, stand, baby, pray, baby, fight on your knees. I didn't have that. And for the ones that don't have that, I want to give you guys that because it makes a difference. As long as I was praying, there was hope. When I lost my faith, when I got tired, I destroyed more had I just stayed on my knees and kept praying. It really hurts when you hurt somebody that you truly love. It doesn't matter what your reason was. It doesn't matter, my intention wasn't to do harm. It was to just get my husband home. But regardless, it hurt him. It hurt innocent people involved. It made people pull away from me. And it was never my intention. It was just save my marriage. And when my daughter passed, I think that's when I really stopped praying. I didn't understand why I would be going through so much and he would take my daughter, why he would take my best friend, why he would cut her life so short. She was only 18 and she was going so far. So I wrestled with that a lot. And I lost focus of God because of that. And I started believing God wasn't for me. He wasn't for my family. I know better now. I know that, you know, we go through things for a reason, but at the time when I'm grieving my daughter, and when you would think that it would bring your husband home for y'all to grieve together. Now, don't get me wrong, we talked, we tried to hang out, but it was difficult because we both grieved different ways, and the both of us was very, very close to her. So it was really difficult for us. And then we had our own things that we were dealing with before her death. So we didn't know how to fight together to save us. And I started spiraling out of control. Like, this is my life. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm somebody's employee. You know, I'm a businesswoman. This can't be happening to me. You know, this is not happening. But it was. It was. I was in the back seat watching my life spiral out of control. We have a tendency to love too hard sometimes, and sometimes we love the wrong way. When I realized there were issues, I reacted out of anger, out of stress, out of frustration, out of blame, a lot of blaming. And it wasn't fixing anything. It was pushing my husband further and further away. And I have to take ownership for that. You know, you have to own up to some of the things that you do, some of the things that you say, some of the ways that you act. We have to take ownership for that, because that's what makes or breaks a relationship. In my case, it was too late because I didn't learn until too late. You know, I loved my husband. I do love my husband, and I tried to love him through it, but I loved him the wrong way. And that's another thing that we do. We don't love them the right way. It's kind of like with your child when, you know, your child is acting out and you know you should be punishing them, but you say, okay, I'm going to give you one more try. And we just keep enabling them to throw these tantrums in the store or to stomp down the stairs. It's kind of the same thing. When I realized this was a pattern of issues, I should have been on my knees. Maybe he didn't see it as issues, but I was smart enough to see it as issues, and I didn't stay on my knees. I have to tell you, that's the worst mistake of my life. Not staying on my knees, trying something different, and putting the ultimate fear in my husband. It's awful. On top of that, on top of everything that I've been going through, I've been clinically diagnosed with depression and PTSD. No, nobody wants to believe that, especially in the Black community. Nobody has these issues. Nobody has those problems. We just talk it out. We go get a drink. We hang out. No. Been there, done that, and tried it. It's not that simple. It takes a lot more. It takes a lot more fight than the next person. I have to commend a friend that I haven't even had that long, that he blew up my phone. He stayed on my phone because he refused to let me get into that sad place after I realized what I did, and I had to own it, and owning it hurt me because it was the truth, and it was the realization is this is why things are the way they are. So you have nobody to blame but yourself. So I'm the type, I don't like to hurt people. I don't like to upset people. So I take the blame for a lot of things. And I took the blame for this. I had to. But it depressed me. Because in this situation, I not only hurt my husband, I've hurt friends, I've hurt my children, I've hurt other family members. I've done a lot that I shouldn't have done. And it's something I have to live with pretty much every day until I get this forgiveness away. Or until I could forgive myself, so I say. So, explain my depression and my PTSD. I have good days, I have bad days. I have good moments, I have bad moments. Certain things can trigger bad moments. For instance, my friend got me out of my funk today, and I did make it to the gym. And then at the gym, while I was at the gym, my dad says, "Hey, come by, we're frying fish." So I did it. And there was 2 women, my dad, me and 2 of my children, and a couple. The couple sent me back into depression because I saw how he protected her, how he makes things happen for her, how they sit together. And what it did for me is just remind me of what I miss. And little things like that will send me into a depression. Little things like that will upset me. Somebody could say the wrong thing, and it could be the truth, and it could send me downward. It's something that I'm working through daily, momentarily. But if you have somebody that's dealing with depression, you love them, you've got to be there for them. You've got to trust them when they say they're not in a good place. And you've got to look at them and talk to them when they say they're okay. For years, I walked around and said I was okay. And I wasn't. My husband is not a bad person. I do realize everybody makes mistakes, and there's a reason why they make mistakes. I'm not a perfect person. However, I've dealt with the death of an infant, well, before she was born. I've had to deal with that alone. I lost custody of my son, my oldest son, when he was 10. And that hit home for me because I'm not a bad mother. But because of my belief, the courts didn't rule in my favor. And that hurt. I felt the guilt of that. I felt the guilt of losing Bree. I felt the guilt of my husband going to prison. I felt the guilt of what I did while he was in prison. I felt the guilt of a lot of things. And it was just going on and on and on. And when my husband would act out, I felt the guilt of that too. Because I thought I was doing everything right to be a good wife. So why can't you be what I need in return? Granted, he started out that way. And he stayed that way for a long time. And he'd have moments where he was off and on. But it was the bad moments that outweighed my good moments. And that's what I let tear us down. That's what I let bother me more than anything. Were the good moments, or the bad moments, I'm sorry. Instead of accepting the good moments. It's hard when you're going through things and you just need somebody to talk to and nobody's listening. Nobody's checking on you. Or nobody wants you to even deal with it. It really just makes matters worse. So I chose to be very candid, almost very candid, because one, I have to get to a place where I forgive myself for what I've done. Whether I'm forgiven or not, I have to get to that place. Two, I've got to heal. Because it really hurts. It hurts. And three, because I can save somebody. I can save a marriage. I can save somebody from suicide. I can be strength for somebody in depression. It's just so many avenues, and I want to do that. So if you choose, I am going to work hard at trying to do more videos and more blogging as I'm supposed to be doing. But honestly, the depression and everything kind of took precedence over everything. So I'm working to try to get healthy again so that I can do my blogs and my videos. So you guys can help me and I can help you. And in the words of my love, forever and always.